What's up, ladies? Welcome to another episode of the Revitalized Womanhood podcast, and I am so excited. This episode, I am in Tuscany at a villa on a working vineyard and olive oil farm, and we've stayed here. So this is our third time staying here, and so one of the most amazing parts of travel is honestly when your Airbnb, this is actually called agroturismo, but when your Airbnb stay hosts become friends and like almost family, right? I would absolutely have Caterina come to Utah and spend an entire week plus with us and host them and love having them. And same with, I know she would do the same. We got to record today. I wanted to talk to her, especially because I haven't been back since before COVID. And in the meantime, we both have had a baby. So we both got to be pregnant. This would be her first child, but we were both pregnant during a world pandemic. And I really wanted to get her perspective, not only of what things look like being a woman and all the things we talk about in the Revitalized Sisterhood and Revitalized Womanhood in America, but how that looks for women in Italy. And I've said it before, we are not unique. Like, honestly, the women in Italy, the women in other countries, the couples, the marriages, the moms with their children. I mean, it is not so unbelievably different than what we're going through. They're all having the same conversations. They're all having the same fights. They're making the same decisions every day, right? So I really wanted to record with her, and I think it's really fun to hear her. She speaks English so well, but there's a part at the end, if you stay long enough, that she's actually talking to her little girl. Her little girl was outside playing with my boys, and she wanted to come in and see her mommy. So then, of course, it's in Italian. So she's like, "Is this okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no one knows what you're saying." So, I mean, any of you out there that speak Italian, you will understand. But we kind of just jumped right into the conversation. So I wanted to make sure I had an intro on this one. So sit back and enjoy this episode with my friend Caterina Agostini. And this is Living in Tuscany.
So in Italy, for us, it's almost the same, I think, as in America, as you have told me. We have the new generation that we want to work and to be the things that we have studied for. But in the meantime, the most part of us will like also to have children and to stay in a family and to be realizing both things. And it's not so easy because the government, the Italian government is, but also many other places I know, they don't give us help for being both things. And we have always problem. Where do I have to leave my children? And you are always thinking about 10 things together because you need to bring stuff home and to do work, and then coming back, you know that you have your children and you want to stay with them too. So it's not easy. Luckily, now we have also men, something in the mind of our men that have from our age, something is changing. They understand more that what we want to do because maybe they have studied with us, so they know that we want to become something. But the generation of our parents, normally the women were the first one that begin to work outside the house. So my mother and our generation, the generation of our parents, was the first one that realizes that they want to do something different. So now we are almost we have begun this street, but I think it's going to be long, really long.
It's just the beginning.
Yes,
like we're pioneers.
Pioneers.
So. And I think, do you think it's behind America in that sense? Do you think you're behind us, or do you think we're all on the same page?
I think we're almost on the same page now.
Yeah.
We had also, in my opinion, from the last 10 years, we have many intellectuals that thought that it was the moment to change something. So, for example, We had people who said, okay, you are women, you can stay at home if you want, but if you want, work. So be what you want to do.
Yeah.
Be what you want to be.
It was kind of like in the 80s and 90s.
Yes.
That seems like that's when it was for us
Yes.
too. The 80s and 90s, and the women were like, well, we can do that. We can do what the men are doing. We can go out. It feels like that's when it almost shifted though. Like when it was almost women were told to stay home and the men were working, right? And the women were taking care of the family and the home. But then almost in this new shift, it was climbing the corporate ladder. I'm going to be better than you. That's when all of this
Sure.
women's, like, we want equal pay, we want equal everything in the workplace, right? And almost to the point where it was like, I don't want to have kids. I'm going to put my career first. I'm going to put, you know, or if you did have kids, you would get nannies, or it wasn't a priority to take care of your kids. But I feel like now we're coming back from that and realizing, no, that's a little extreme for a lot of us. And that's fine for so many people. Fine. It, like I said, it's not a good or a bad. It's just different. And now we're kind of creating this new, we can have it all.
Here, I think in Italy, we have all these situations. Maybe in the south of Italy, we have more people, more young women that decides to stay home, more than in the central part of Italy and in the north. In the north, we have many women that maybe they decided more to stop having children because they said, okay, my career is really important. And we have, in both cases, men that they want to do like a fight between each other because I'm the man, I have to bring money at home, and you can stay home if no problem, you take care of the children. And many others who said, okay, no, let's start working because it's okay. But I think that it's something in our mind because they have taught us that the women has to stay home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's something that has to change in our mind. We are the first people that can decide to change something, but I think that only in our generation really something is changing. But I think we have a lot of street to go.
Yeah. I think what's changing also that I was trying to explain to Rick the other day was this is a new concept for the women who want to stay home with their families.
Sure.
To prioritize self-care. Mm-hmm. Also, that this is a whole new mentality of being able to see it as fulfillment and filling your own cup. Have you heard that saying? You're filling your own cup so that everybody else is happy around you. If mom's happy, everybody else around you's happy, right? Whereas before, like my mom, she would give and give and give and give and take care of all of us to the point where she was exhausted, burned out. And I think that still is our generation. I think we battle with it. Like we see these other women that are saying, love yourself first, put yourself first. And that's not selfish.
We have a lot of street to go in Italy too, because we always, also people at my age that we want to work and to be what we want. The same, we need, we have like a sense of that we are always, you need always to say sorry to someone, okay? Because you have never done enough for the children, enough for your husband, enough for your parents, enough for everyone. So I think this is the thing, because if you are happy, as Gina has told you perfectly, the other people will be nicer and happy. But for me, for example, that I was born in 1988, so not so far, but it's difficult because you always think that you have to say, sorry, maybe I haven't done enough for you today. Right. Sorry, Matilde, this is my husband, this is my daughter. So something crazy.
You feel guilty.
Guilty, always.
If I went out and had a nice day, like, okay, here's an example. We were in Gdansk, I believe, and Rick didn't want to leave. He wanted to just stay home and be lazy. And I said, well, I want to go to this museum. And he says, okay, take the baby. And I'm like, to a museum? No, you leave. The kids will be here. You stay here. I'm going to walk and go to a museum. And I felt guilty the whole time.
Yes.
Like I tried to get out of it, and he's fine. they're fine and I'm fine. But I was gone maybe 2 hours and I felt so guilty for it, which I think men, they don't mean to, the ones that I think they want us to be happy, but I don't think they necessarily know how to change their mindset yet either, because of course they want us to take care of the kids. Of course they want us to take the baby. He wants to say, oh, you go, you have fun. But at the same time, if I would have offered to take the baby, he would have said, oh yeah, you take the baby.
Yeah, sure.
You know, like, yeah, go ahead.
Go.
Like he wants to think. So I think for men too, it's difficult. They want to say that they're being this way, but sometimes their actions aren't the same as what they're trying to do.
And then I don't know if you agree with me, but we organize almost everything.
Oh yeah.
All day long, all year long, for everybody. So another example, this morning I had to work in the morning and then I came back home and I said to my husband, this evening, I would like to go to have dinner outside with 3 friends of mine. And I didn't go out for 4 years because Matilde now is 3. So I don't remember a dinner with some friends, only women. And I would like to go alone. That was the point. And he said, and before it, I have a reunion with some other people for my job. And he said, okay, but today you have abandoned us. To make a joke, I think. But for me, it's like I feel guilty only for thinking that I would like to go out without Matilde. So I think that we have to do a lot of work on it, on ourselves.
Mm-hmm. We talk about that in my community. We talk about a lot about making sure to express our wants and needs. And I said, that's one thing if you actually know what your wants and needs are, right? You have to first identify what they are, which I think is hard for a lot of women that have put themselves on the back burner for so long that finally they have an opportunity to come out and be like, what do I like? I don't know. Well, I used to like this. Do I still? I don't know.
I don't remember. I don't remember what it was before.
Yeah. And then not only are they, okay, now I've realized what I have, but now you have this problem where you have to communicate it with your husband after what? Okay, so if this were Rick and myself, for example, we've been married for 17 years. I have not expressed that I have these needs. So now all of a sudden it seems like I'm a totally different person because all of a sudden I'm saying, well, that's not okay anymore. This is what I want. And he's like, well, you've always been okay up until now. And so I think so these new ladies, because I have like some young ones in here that one is in college. Some are not married yet. Some don't have kids yet. And I say, oh, I am so grateful for you for starting this journey this soon, because now the rest of us, okay, 17 years into marriage, are trying to figure out and navigate how to have these conversations without turning it into a total fight, without sounding like you're a totally different person. And I have a couple women in here who are even older. And it's like they've gone their whole lives almost with the same thing.
And maybe they would like to change now. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
I understand it. And I think, for example, I knew my husband at the university. So we both studied, both have finished the university. So, and he knew also before that I had my situation, that I like to work on myself and on my personal farm. So he knew already that I had something to follow. But I think that in these last 5 years, we got married 5 years ago, a lot of things have changed when we had Matilde, because Matilde changed our equilibrium a lot. So, but I think that also that it's a good thing, because at the beginning I was only living for her every day. Then there was COVID, so everything was strange at the beginning. But then I also understood that I'm not able to not having nothing for me, nothing for my. I like to sing, for example. So why not? Where is the problem?
Yeah.
but you have to think about it. What was I before Matilde?
Yeah.
What did I like before?
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
it's
remember.
and it's like you said, even with going out with your girlfriends, it's now you almost have to ask permission, but not, because it's not asking permission. I think every wife with children knows what we're talking about. It's, you have to battle that guilt of, and the snide comments of, you're abandoning us, right? Of, can I not just have something on my own? That if imagine your husband wanted to have a guys' night, right? He would say, maybe, I'm having a guys' night tonight, and then off he goes, has the guys' night. He doesn't care about Matilda. He doesn't care about dinner. He doesn't care about arranging any plans with you. He doesn't care about, do we need to pack a diaper bag first? Do we need to, but we plan something. This is, I've seen so many memes on Instagram about this, where it's, if I'm going out for the evening, it's, I have to make sure I clean the house first. I have to make sure I make dinner first. I have to clean the kitchen after I've made dinner. I have to put the kids in the tub before I go. Then they're ready for him to watch for 2 hours. And then I come home and then I put them to bed. And, you know, it's, you plan for everything. And I'm just speaking in generalities. I'm making Rick sound like he's totally useless, but he's not that way. But sometimes it is like, we let them off the hook to the point where, why wouldn't they? Like today, he says, the baby needs his diaper changed. And I thought, so change it. And
you had two hands, the same as me.
He just stayed there and laid there. And I was like,
it's the same. And
but why
even though we are good people, no problem. They love us. They love the family. We say, okay, I'm lucky. Yes, it's true. But you have to tell what you need and to be to make people understand and to be specific. For example, my husband has some hobbies and he likes to, for example, go with the bicycle. Twice a week. Usually he is able to go. Sometimes he go fishing because he loves to go fishing. Matilde was less than 1 month and he usually went away for 1 day or half a day. And for me, it was okay because I was no problem with it. But I said, but what's my hobby? If I'm not here, I am going to work or going to the supermarket or something like this, or going to take her from the school or from, these are my hobbies. So it's strange and it's not a problem for me. And he doesn't feel guilty as I feel when I'm going to say, okay, I'm going 2 hours to have a pizza with some friends. This is the problem. In my opinion, maybe I have created it because I'm always at home and I'm okay at home. I love staying there and with him and with Matilde, but
it's
okay
important
to
you're
have
not.
Yes.
It's I'm okay until you snap and say, I'm not okay, I need to leave, right? Instead of saying, I need time on my own. Next day, I need some time on my own. Next day, I need some. I think we create it. Absolutely. I think we created it.
Yes, sure.
So
because
now
we
it's
say,
up to us to break it.
No problem.
Yeah, we're
okay.
trying
Go,
to be
go.
easy. Yeah.
And also because, in my opinion, when I think about my last 3 years, I've always talked with my husband and a 3-year-old child. So they are not really good conversation. They are fantastic, but they are not conversation as we can have also. So we need them. And it's normal. I think it's normal.
That's why I started this women's community. That's why it's not just, and it's also not just, I've tried to explain to some people, it's, yes, you can still have your people that support you in your real life, everyday life. And then you have this online community of strangers, really, essentially strangers. But because you're sharing such vulnerable things in this community, in this space online, because almost like I could go in there and say something about my husband or that I'm frustrated with, whatever, that they don't hear it as I'm bad-mouthing my husband. They hear it as, well, Gina, what do you need to do to communicate better, right? Whereas if I'm telling it to my maybe friends in real life, they're like, oh yeah, he's being such a jerk. Or you're right. You know, they're trying to be supportive, but with the strangers, they don't have this almost bias because they don't know my husband really.
Sure.
So they know if I'm with him, they trust that I love him and he loves me. And yes, we all have problems. And they look at it more like, what are you doing wrong? Or what are you going to do to fix this? Right. And so it's really different. It's different having the two different communities.
Sure.
But so what I wanted to ask you, so you went to school when you were raised, were you and your sister, is it just you and your sister?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And her sister is a doctor. And were you raised to think you can do anything? You can be anything. Go to college and be anything. Were you encouraged to do that? Was your sister encouraged to become a doctor? Or was it marry a nice boy that will take care of you and stay home with the kids?
No. We were encouraged to do what we want from my parents, both, because they could study, both of them. So my parents too. And it was something unusual to the age of my mother that she got the graduation, the maximum graduation.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it because you think your mom
I think so.
went to school? So she broke that generational tradition.
Sure.
Whereas as maybe some of your friends weren't that. If their mother was still the stay-at-home mother, they weren't encouraged maybe to go to school as you were. Is that?
I think that now something has changed because the generation of my grandmother, it was impossible to think that they go to work.
Right.
The generation of my parents, women, some of them began to work and some of them remain at home, but it was also a personal choice. Not all of them were encouraged to stay home. But I think they were the first generation. By us now, for example, my friends, almost we all work, someone more and someone less, but we all decided to work and not to stay home. But for example, the difference is between the people, friends of mine, that decided to restart working only a few days after they had, for example, children.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them that decided to stay longer at home because they want to stay with the children the maximum that they could. Mm-hmm. So it's something different in our mind. For example, for me, I decided to do what I could with Matilde always. So I restarted to work soon, but always with her. For 2 years, everything I did with her. But it was really, really tiring. So if I think...
So did you work from home?
Yes, from home and then staying home also. Right. And so, but it's because my job is particular. But for example, a friend of mine, she's a lawyer. She decided to go back to work, and she had to go there after 1 month, I think 1 month and a half. So she was really tired, but she decided the same because she said that she needs that.
Yeah.
So she needs to go out from home. And it was okay. And the family around her said, okay, go, do what you want and we help you. In Italy, a great and an important thing for us are the grandparents that really help us.
And not just Italy, I think Europe. I think that's a very European culture. Well, I guess I should say some of the countries, because when we're out traveling and we're going to these cities, and especially like the zoos, we'll go to the zoo or something, and it seems like all the grandmas are there pushing the prams, pushing the strollers. It's not like a young nanny or anything like that. It's a grandma. It's like a 65-year-old. Sure. Like my mom would be at the zoo with my kids. And we noticed that.
I decided, in my personal opinion, but it's my personal opinion, not to put some weight on them, on my parents and the parents of Stefano, because I think that being a grandparent now should be something only for fun and not for being stressed by this. But this is my personal opinion, because sometimes we need them also, because maybe if you have to go to work and you have the hours that you have to go there. So it's a rule and it's okay. But we are both people who can decide our timetable. So it's easier for us to say, okay, for our parents should be something funny and not something so tiring.
Yes,
for
because
them.
then they become the parents.
Sure.
They see their grandkids as they have to discipline, they have to teach them.
Yes.
It's like being their parents again.
And it's not
fun.
No, for them. Maybe they have already done it,
Yeah.
but now they are grandparents. So maybe they're more tired. They want to stay with the nephews only for fun and not for teaching them or not for doing as a parent. I understand that some of us, they need to do that,
Right.
because whether or not they cannot work, because we're not helped in any case. So
do you have to have dual incomes now? Is it starting to be harder to only have one person work? Like, say the husband works, he makes the money.
it's almost
But now
impossible.
it's becoming you both have to work.
Yes.
For the cost of living.
In Italy.
Oh my gosh. We pulled over in Rome to get gas. It was, okay, so I'll break it down for you guys because ours is per gallon and yours is per liter, right? And basically it was $8 per gallon. So that's insane. At home, $4 a gallon is high. So high for us. And maybe that's why we all drive so much more and you guys have such good public transportation and everything.
Sure.
But for us, $4 a gallon is so high. And here we were like,
Yes, now in Italy in the last few months and also in last 2 years, also later than the war in Ukraine, we had the prices were really, really high. So usually in a family we need to work both.
Right.
It's
so I didn't get a say yet. So we are in Tuscany and on your beautiful property. It's called an agroturismo, which means it's a working farm, right?
Yes.
And so you can rent the home on it and it is a working farm. Olive oil and vineyard. So is this your father's property?
Yes.
And was it his father's? Is it generational? Yes. And so do you just run it for him because you like to do it? Because you went to school for agriculture, right?
Yes, at the university. Yes, I think that this is a family business for many, many years. Then my father decided to do something different. And I decided with my mother to restart the farming in our family and to study agriculture too. But it's usually not really a female business.
Yeah.
Because we are not many. Now, the last few years, we have more females also in agriculture, but it was not so easy to find them. Yes, it's a family business, and I studied before at the high school languages, and it was useful for the agriturismo, and then later agriculture. I don't know if I didn't have the business at home and the family business, maybe I would like to do something different, to stay with children and to maybe become a teacher. But my mother was really encouraging, also too much, more than encouraging me to do this, because she said that it's a beautiful activity, and it's true. And I always thought that I would not like to do the same with Matilde. I would like Matilde to choose freely what she would like to become. Then I'm lucky and I love my job, but maybe if I was really free, maybe I wasn't here. I decided to do something different. Yes.
What do you think? What do you think that would have been?
I think the teacher in the small schools.
A preschool teacher.
Preschool teacher, yes. I think so.
I have a member in my community that she thought that she would always be a church preschool teacher. And she thought always, oh, but my dream is to be a special ed teacher, more of it with the special students. And she got into this community and she's thought, no, I don't have enough education for it. But we all said, go for your dreams. That's what we talk about, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's like, okay, what would you be doing then? What, instead of life just happening and you're on autopilot, I wake up, I go to the gym, I take your kid to school, I come home, I do the laundry, I clean the house, right? You're on autopilot.
Sure.
You're just going through the motions. I mean, it's like when you're driving and you're on your way somewhere, but then all of a sudden you end up home and you're like, oh, I missed my turn, because you're on autopilot, right? And it's like saying, instead of this is your life, to say, why not attempt to go for this other thing? Just try it. What's the worst they can say? No. And she did. She got a job being a special ed teacher. And she's only been in this community for 3 months.
Wow, good luck.
Oh, I know. So good. So I always wonder that. Like, I think that as well, like me starting this community, is that something that I probably would have done, because I did lose myself for a very long time. And I think I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, this is definitely a passion, obviously, or I wouldn't do it, because it makes no money.
Sure.
Rick calls it my expensive hobby because we pay for it. But, you know, but I've done all these things up until this point. I've done so many things, and maybe they're all just life lessons to getting me to becoming something somewhere later down the road that will be the big dream, you know, like I'm already starting to discover it, you know, like I want to talk to not only women our age in this community, but I want to talk to younger women, like
Sure.
at 12 years old, and get into where the problems happen with self-esteem. When they start to think they don't have a right to have wants and dreams and needs, when
Sure.
society or whatever pressures tell them, okay, up until this point, you've wanted to be an artist. Well, all of a sudden now someone says you're not good enough. Well, now you're not going to be an artist. Well, no, you continue to want whatever you want, right? And I think that's important. Do you feel like I feel like we're a little different in that way, because you had the mom that broke it generationally for you.
Yes.
And I think I am the generation
first. Sure.
that's breaking it for my kids or whoever. I don't have a daughter.
But it's okay.
My boys will marry very strong women, I'm afraid.
Oh, yes. It's important.
It's important. So how do people view you with this big property around here? Like, is this a normal thing in Tuscany? It feels like to us, everyone has a vineyard, everyone has property.
No, it's not like this. And I also come from a quite not so famous, but a noble family. So, for example, I have 3 surnames, and this is something strange that I never tell anybody, because it's something that I'm not afraid, but yes, I don't like to tell it, because people watch to you in a different way, even if I'm not snob, you know, but it's something that can change the mind of the people who are looking to you, and they say, okay, she comes from a noble family, and she is a property, she has property, she's rich, but they don't know us, they don't know the situation, they don't know that from 9 years I do everything alone, because I'm alone.
Yeah.
My husband helps me, but he only can help me. So doing my job my everyday job, but it's my property, so it's my responsibility, it's my work. So it's not easy every day. Then people know it's not normal to see a young woman quite young.
You are young. Yes, young.
That has this big farm to follow, because in my opinion it's a farm that it's quite big.
Yeah.
So we need to do a lot of things, and to put everything of yourself inside the job. So maybe when you come back home, you're also tired for this reason. You're tired in your mind, not only physically. Mm-hmm. So yes. However, you need to and also in a community that the farming system is a male system. So you need to tell people that you know what you're talking about,
yourself.
To prove. Yes, you need to always to be to prove that you know what you are talking about, because you are a woman. So
yeah,
you need to prove it.
Yeah,
even if a man is not, they don't have to do that. We have to do that, not them.
Oh, oh, absolutely. That's just another one of those societal ideologies, right? Is trying to keep up with the men's bar. We've talked about that before. It's like men set this bar, right? And so women that have come into the men's world and the business world think, okay, well, that's what I have to reach to, because that's the bar they've set. But it's like, no, you're a woman. You have your own bar. It's over here. This is the bar you have
Yes.
to reach. This is the men's bar because they're men. This is the woman's bar because you're a woman. And this is your bar because you're you. Like, set your own bar. Like, who else's standards are you even living up to? I think we all just have to get out of our own way and get out of our own heads and stop worrying so much about what everybody else is doing and be in competition with ourselves almost. It's like, okay, can I be better? Yes. Do I have a body that works, but I'm not exercising every day? Well, then I'm going to be fat and lazy. That's my own fault. But I can be better. Do you have a bank account that you don't watch and you don't do your investments and you don't, right? Then you're going to be broke or poor, living paycheck to paycheck, but that's your own fault. That's not because this person down the street is better than you at it. It's your own fault, right?
It's difficult to arrive at this point, I think.
It is. Because it's hard work. That's
Yes.
why you have the people that have the things and the people that don't have the things, because it's easy to be complacent.
Yes.
It's easy and it's comfortable. I'd much rather sit on the couch and watch TV than go
Sure.
exercise.
Sure.
I mean, not, I love to exercise, but yeah, some days it's much easier. So, well, I just wanted to prove, it's so funny because with how much we've traveled, I have gone and seen that, because before you travel, I think you think things are so different, even though they are. I've been showing my women what funny things are different here, things that we don't think about. But I mean, as far as human existence and human nature, it's, we could be in Venice and there's a man and woman having the same fight over, just like you're saying, he's going out with the guys and he doesn't care. He has no guilt. Whereas the wife is at home and she feels the guilt, right? It's all, we're not so unique, right? We're all the same in that regard. We're all women. And so that's why I just wanted to show what womanhood means in Italy, the same in America.
I think so. Then also in Italy, we have some differences. Yes, it's true, but all women are different, but more or less we have the same problems, I think.
Do you see it in Italy as, I mean, I only know America, but do you see it as women put other women down to try to build themselves up? Or do you feel like you are, as a whole, trying to help the women build? Or is it just too different?
No, I think that in the last few years, something is changing. So the second things that you have told is the right one. So we try to say, okay, no, I think that something can change and we can help each other to get all of us better. I don't think that one single, yes, we can, but one single woman can change everything. We can change our mentality also if we speak with each other, if we talk to each other and we say, okay, what do you do at home? And how do you feel when you go out, when you are alone, or maybe with another friend and your children stay home? How do you feel? So if we talk to each other, it's easier.
The more you talk about it, the more it's...
I think so.
I think that's exactly why I love this podcast. I think that's exactly because I want people to be on here and not, of course, any woman. I don't care. I've had very famous women on here, but that isn't who I'm necessarily trying to talk to. I'm trying to talk to all women. I want to talk to women who have suffered infertility. I want to talk to women who have had miscarriages. I want to talk to women who have no kids. I want to talk to women who, right? I want to talk to everyone, because I think when we have these conversations, like you say, when we have these conversations, that it gives someone else who feels like they're suffering alone, or that maybe they can't do the same things, see that, oh, yeah, if this person is doing it,
I can. Sure.
I have a friend in Paris right now, and we've only met through Instagram. That's all we knew each other. I actually thought she was still in Ireland, and she's got a baby, our baby's age, 3, in the hospital, having like organ failures. And she is trying to coach women through Instagram, kind of like showing moms how you need to put back into yourself. This is happening. Yes, it's terrible. It is absolutely tragic. But the more tragic thing will be if all you do is lose yourself in it, in the situation. You have to go out, and she'll be walking on the beach, or she'll show that she's with one of her friends having a girls' day. Can you imagine that kind of guilt? That's like next level. Feeling like I need to go have a girls' day while my baby is suffering in the hospital, right? But what good is she going to be for this baby if she too is suffering, not sleeping, not eating? Like,
Crazy.
it puts it in such perspective of, I saw another one on here that I have no idea who she is. And she was talking about, be grateful you have those piles of laundry to do. Be grateful that you have food to make dinner with, because some women feel resentful almost. They've put themselves on the back burner for so long that I think it becomes resentment towards their families. Like, I have to do this. I'm put upon to be a mother, or to be a wife, when really it's, you chose this. And so this one woman, she's posting, be grateful you have toys to pick up. You have kids playing with these
This is
toys.
important, because maybe if you find a little bit of time and space for you, then you are also more grateful for what you have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that it's always linked to how do you feel in the house and outside.
Right.
So everything is connected. If you feel grateful for what you have, and it's true, and then you are nice also when you go out and you say, okay, I need this time for me, and it's not a guilt. And then at home, I will be grateful more than before.
Yeah. And that, I think, is a concept that is brand new.
Brand new.
It is brand new. It is maybe not so brand new, but brand new. Like, we are still trying to, I still don't think anybody, as the majority, has grasped it. Like, I'm trying to, I'm saying it, I'm saying do it.
But we haven't finished.
But we haven't finished it, because I still feel guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the one saying it. I'm saying don't feel guilty, but I still feel guilty.
Sure, me too. I know, but it's okay. I think it's a long job. It's a process.
I think it's going to be the next generation for sure. I think Matilde, maybe she will be able to do this. Maybe. But then how do we make it so that these are the new women that are strong and comfortable saying, I have these needs and my needs are important, but they don't turn out to be, again, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but for me, what I would want for my children is, I don't want them to say, I don't want to have kids. I want to do my own career. I want to just think of myself. I want them to say, I think of myself, but I also think of my family as well.
Yeah, sure. And and also because you're not supposed to think in the way that the other people want you to think. So you decide by yourself, and you say, I want children or I don't want them. But I decide because I follow my needs, and I say, okay, I want to only to work, but not because the society decides that if you are a mother, you cannot work. This is different because you haven't decided nothing.
Exactly. You said it perfectly, that it's your choice. Just like you said about maybe if your mother wasn't pushing you so much to do something, you may have done something else.
In my case, it was really strange because she was already ill. She had a cancer. So when she tells me something, for me, it was like, doing it because I would like her to be happy.
Right.
So it was strange for this reason. Then she was never pushing me doing nothing at home. For example, she always tell me, be free, do what you want, also with men. And so no problem with this. But she said, okay, it's a pity if all that, the things that your father has, it flies away.
Yes.
So she said, if you like it, do it. Maybe it was a worry for her if all our job
who would run
away.
this?
That's the reason why. But however, I think that you need to decide, because if you don't decide nothing for yourself, and then you become sad every day, and your family also, if you have one, is sad too, because they say that they see that you are not happy,
Yeah.
and so they will not be happy the same.
They think
'Cause
they're
the
to blame
mother-
for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
so.
your kids take on that resentment. Oh, absolutely. How are we doing? Do you have any questions for me about America?
No, yes, I was really interested in knowing what's the situation now for women, because, okay, we have more or less, I think, the same problems, but in coming from Italy, it seems that America is always far away from us. It's more modern.
Oh.
Is it true or not?
No. I think different countries, in my experience, like when we were in Australia this one time, their concept of what America is either Kim Kardashian or Donald Trump.
Okay.
It's like that
Nothing
is
in the
a
middle.
huge, yeah, that is like liberal and crazy. Just kidding. You know, I love Trump, but you know, at the time that's crazy. And so it's like, I think the majority of America is in between. Is we're normal, we're farmers, we're agriculture, we're small towns. I think outside of America, I think the big flashy lights are New York City, LA, you know, the big cities, whereas the rest of America is not that.
It's the same as in Italy. We are not all Milan.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yes, on Rome or Milan. Yes, we
Yeah.
No, also Florence is really a small city.
Yeah.
In the
Like, see, we'd rather go to Siena than go to Florence, even, you know,
sure.
even Florence. And that's just, Siena is that much smaller. And we love that. And so that's more, I think, what most of America is. Most of America is that. It is hard, though, because we are divided. We're very divided. And I think it's because our country, I don't know if it's, what's going on is crazy. America is crazy. Is it so much here with, well, we don't really want to get into those politics. They're just nasty. It's interesting because for our kids, it's starting to be scary in schools for, say, they're starting to teach really horrifying things to kindergartners, 5 years old, teaching them things about sex and the body, and they're 5. And it's like, how is that not pedophilia? How is that not a sex offense, teaching young kids about these things, you know? And it's our government telling the school system that they need to teach that. Whereas it's like, no, I will teach my children those things when I feel like it's appropriate, or never, right?
Sure.
It's my choice. And so I do think that we are divided in a lot of things. So I have a niece, my niece, I'll show you when we get off. And she just did this TikTok and it's hilarious. And we have another girl. So they do these funny memes where they'll dress up as different characters, as from different parts of the country. And it's a mom from Arizona, it's a mom from California, It's a mom from Utah, it's a mom from New York. And it is hilarious because it is so different, but it is so on point. Which you probably have the same thing. Like you would have a Milan.
Sure.
Like, so it's kind of like saying the housewives of, do you guys have that here? So housewives of Milan or housewives of Tuscany, housewives of whatever, it would be completely different.
Sure, it's true.
It's because we all create little subcultures, right? So I think where we're from in Utah, we are a culture of our own because we have the religion, we have the Mormons. And so it creates this really interesting culture. And then you have the people who are supposed to be Mormon, but they're not, but they're pretending to still be, you know, it's interesting. So, but I think everywhere has that.
Sure. It's the same
I
here.
think everywhere has that. So were you raised Roman Catholic? Is that's what it's called? And is that find its place a lot here in Italy? Is it pretty much like
now the religion is not so okay? No, we have the Pope here, okay, but and the Catholic religion is the most important. But I think that now it's becoming less and less important here. In
More
Italy.
people are starting to find their own way
See?
and do their own thing.
But I think it can also be a good solution. No
Yes.
problem with it, in my opinion.
I think that's what's happening with us too, is I think we were all raised very, very specific, strict in these religions. And now for some reason, we're all figuring out our own minds, and that maybe not necessarily I still love God and I want to have a relationship with God, but maybe your definition of a relationship with God is not need to be my relationship.
I think that this is changing. Also in Italy is the same for us. I think that it's a good thing because the religion must be something personal.
Yeah.
Really,
oh,
really
yeah,
personal.
absolutely.
So that's the reason why.
It's
I
interesting,
think so.
isn't it? I wonder if they all went through the same stuff. I saw a post on Instagram today that said humans are not supposed to see the tragedies throughout the world every day. Only God could handle that kind of trauma. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It's too big.
yeah, it's too big. It's too big because 50 years ago, we didn't know that there was a tsunami somewhere. Sure. We didn't know that thousands of people were killed. It just happened. And maybe we heard about it eventually, obviously, but 100 years ago, we didn't know these things. And now we know every single little thing that's going on. And I think it's starting to affect everything. It's starting to affect how we are as humans to each other.
Our minds too, every day, because, a lot of tragedies every day. So you also, when you move, you move more quiet, you have more fear about everything.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why also having children now, it's more, you have more fear.
Yeah, what about us? We had kids through a pandemic.
Yes.
That was wild. Crazy. And I'm telling you, it's totally different when it's not, because I have two that were not. And then you and I have the last one that we were, and it was terrifying.
Terrifying.
And
crazy.
Yes. I had a question for you. What was it? Oh, yeah.
An easy question.
It is an easy question. It's an easy question, not philosophical. We'll let go of the philosophical. No, when we travel, we want to go to Italy. We want to go to Paris. We want to go to, these are the places that are idealized, right? Mm-hmm. Where do Italians go?
To the seaside.
So do you stay even in Italy?
Yes. A lot of us, we decide to remain here. A lot of people that do also, I don't know that it's for, money, because it's too expensive to go out. Then for us, it's the same. If we think about holidays, you think about Paris too, for example, also here in Italy. But normally we have holidays only in August. And so you go to the seaside.
Oh, yeah, you all have your holiday together, right? So it's like a month?
Yes. Not us, because we have
the farm.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's normal. I was going to ask you that too, because Americans probably that haven't traveled don't realize that you can't get lunch here. Just so you know, I remember we were here with you the first time, and we went to the park down in town, and we thought we'll go have lunch, and it was 1 p.m, and we had no food, and everything shut down.
Because this is our problem, because we are in an area where we have a lot of tourists, but we haven't understood it, so that when you go to the towns, usually everything is closed. So we need to be we tell people, please go to the supermarket, because whether or not you're not going to find anything to eat today. But then in August, it's really terrifying, because people are going to close. The restaurants are
everything shuts down.
We go always on holiday in August.
We went to Spain. Oh, it's Matilde. We went to Spain. Oh, cute. She can come and talk.
Sì.
Hi, Matilde.
Dimmi. Giochi?
Do you want to say ciao?
Ti diverti? Bene, amore. Si dice il babbo col trattore? Sorry, stop for Matilde.
It's fine. Matilde, look.
Che c'è? Hai giocato?
What's this on mommy? What's this?
Guarda, amore. Guarda che c'ho qui.
What's this? It looks like a rabbit. It looks like a bunny.
Sembra un coniglietto.
Say ciao.
È un microfono, amore, come il tuo, per registrare la mia voce. I'm explaining her that I'm going to record my voice, so... Vai bene, amore, vengo subito.
She is so cute. Oh my gosh, she has your curly little hair. That's what I said.
Blonde but
when
curly.
I saw her and I said, yep, that's exactly what I expected. I told Rick, I said, I expect her to have curly hair, dark curly hair, and not dark, blonde. Yeah,
yes,
she
because
looks
my
like her
husband was blonde.
Yeah, she looks like your husband.
Yes.
She's got a little bit of both. Did we answer that? Yeah, you go to the seaside. Oh, so we were saying that you all go on holiday. Well, so we were in Barcelona, just outside of Barcelona, and it was sometime, but it must have been when they all go on holiday because the whole boardwalk, everything was shut down. Everything. We're like, well, this is not fun.
No, it's terrible. But also because in Italy, we haven't understood it, because you will also work a lot if you stay open in August. But they decided, because we have only that period that people, they have the holidays, so they go. But the restaurants are closed, so crazy.
Yeah. So is the thing when you guys shut down for lunch, is that something that's societal here too, because you go home and have lunch together? Is that why it shuts down?
I think that it's because this is not real true now, because maybe before we had, for example, lunch together, all the family. Now it maybe on Sunday it remains the day where you are all together, but it depends really too much on the families.
Not so much of a tradition anymore.
Yes.
But is that why it started that way? And so
maybe,
everyone's like, I'll just close down for a couple hours today.
Yeah, yes, this is because everything in that period is really close. People, they go away, they go on holiday, they run away. So, and we stayed close, but we have not understood that we are in a touristic area. So we need to stay open in August.
Oh, I see. What do you think of as far as Americans and I think it was so hard for us when we first came, and I don't think we really understood it until we made it to Venice, and everybody just kind of has this like laid back, like, like it's fine. Whereas at home in America, we have to work more. We have to work harder. We have to work longer hours. We have to become to the top.
This is the same.
It's okay.
It's the same.
Here,
in
it's
Italy,
the same
yes,
here.
we always think that we have to do more and more and more. Here, maybe, I don't know in other places, but here in Florence is like this. We always think that we have to do more work, more job. You need not to stay home on Sunday, work. It's the same.
How is your government with that as far as your taxes go? Because we were talking to a guy from Copenhagen, and he says we couldn't even do that if we wanted to, because the government takes 40% of what they earn.
We have a lot of taxes too, but we have also a lot of people that they don't pay taxes. So we have this big problem. So we are only a few people that decide to pay the taxes. That's the reason why this is a problem.
Oh, so that's something else. How is it right now with, because when we were here 4 years ago, it was a big problem with the refugees.
We have it also now.
Still bad?
Yes, sure. And we have it also. Peekaboo. Dove vai, amore? Oh no, eh? No, amore.
Are you done?
Vuoi un po' di cartoni? Dai, sediti lì.
Oh, dinosaurs.
Prendi, amore, c'è gli animalini lì. Now we have a lot of refugees here in Italy. They arrive at the south in Sicily, in Lampedusa.
Yeah, we were in Palermo.
Yes,
so it's a big problem.
You know what it means? This is a big problem, but in my opinion, they are people who are living some situation that are really crazy. Maybe we don't imagine them. So I think that it's important to make them arrive and so be safe. And then later the European community should decide something linked to how to organize this situation. But people are living really, I think, bad situations. So I think that we are Italian and we have to remember when we went to USA or other places where our
You were the refugees.
We were the refugees. So I think that we have to remember it, but it's my personal opinion. So we have a government that it's really on the right side now.
I think, 4 years ago when it was very first, the problem, I think, was, and they were turning away boats and people were dying. And that's why it was so hard for the Italians to see this happening.
Yes, it was crazy.
And yeah, that's when we were in Palermo.
I don't agree with people that say, okay, you have to send them back home.
Yeah, to
because
die.
They send them to die, and they with
not even
boats
back
that
home
are really,
to die, but just in the ocean.
Middle,
you will just die.
And even if they arrive home, I don't know if they're going to live.
Yeah.
And I think that I always imagine if I was in that side. So with Matilde, that I don't have nothing to give her to eat, maybe I would like to go.
You'd figure it out. Just like America with Mexico. It's the exact same. We deal with the same problem. So I think every country has its own situation right now. The war zones with, Bosnia, we kept getting alerts saying you're very close to a very scary place, and we're like, yeah, we know. And some people, we kept telling our boys, look how lucky you are. They live in this. They're scared all the time, every day. They live in this, and we don't have to. We just happen to be driving by it. We don't have to. We have a choice.
For us, it's only imagining it.
Yeah.
But for them, it's the reality every day. And I think that it's crazy. We are all in the earth.
Yeah, doesn't it seem like we're all educated enough to know that that's not a good thing, that war is not a good thing?
No. But we do it.
But we do it. It's crazy.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, the great political minds here at work.
I think that our government has to follow this podcast so that they can understand something really important.
So sure. Oh my gosh. The American government
and the Italian too.
Oh boy.
Maybe they understand something. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Well, thank you for recording with me. That was really fun.
For me too.
I love it.
Thank you very much.
I'm very curious, and I know my listeners are very curious. It's just nice to hear that, not just me saying it to them, that we are all the same.
Yeah, sure. We are all the same. Trust in us. Trust in us.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.